Hello G.I. Joe and 1/18 scale collectors, this is the Human Mechanism. What you are looking at is the G.I. Joe Multi-Purpose Attack Vehicle, more commonly abbreviated as the VAMP. I don't know how that acronym works. Personally, I see no problem with MPAV, but hey, if 36 years isn't enough to prompt a name change, I'm probably not going to convince too many people on the matter. The VAMP was originally released in 1982, becoming one of the first vehicles of the new G.I. Joe 3 3/4 inch line. This particular model is the 25th anniversary VAMP, released in 2008. But as an approximation, it's about as close to having an original VAMP without actually owning one, give or take a few differences. The VAMP was originally based on the Lamborghini Cheetah, a prototype design developed for the US Army. The Cheetah failed to impress, which prompted the US Army to look for other contractors, a move that would eventually lead to the development of the Humvee. The VAMP is a classic, appearing numerous times in the comics as well as the cartoon, and you know you have something good when people start imitating you. It's funny how the company behind Kids Connection decided not to copy the more modern G.I. Joe designs, but instead went after that old 1980s aesthetic. It's amazing, you simply can't beat that little green Jeep. But that's not to say people didn't come close. In 2010, Hasbro released an update to the VAMP. So what would they add to improve the design? Perhaps change the color, resell it with a different figure, modify the weaponry, or they could just redesign the entire fucking thing. This is an update done right. Why? Because not only is it a completely new design, but it doubles down on everything that made the original VAMP good, and then some. Got 2 seats? Double it. Got 1 big weapon? Add another. And to top it all off, hey, remember that molded winch on the original VAMP? Yeah, that's functional now. Not to mention a real working suspension system. In the G.I. Joe Marvel comics, the Joes were often seen riding on the back of the VAMP. This can be done, but with little practicality. How do you remedy this? Give the new design a Halo Warthog-style weapon station with a Gatling gun. The barrels of the Gatling gun are able to rotate, similar to the system seen on the Cobra Rattler. The entire weapon station itself can rotate, as well as pivot up and down. It also has pegs for a figure to man the turret. This, however, highlights one of the admittedly very few problems I have with this vehicle. The Gatling gun comes with an ammo belt. For the life of me, I can't get it to work properly. It always seems to be scraping into something. Oftentimes, I just display the VAMP without it. In fact, the turret itself doesn't seem to stay in place all that well. Those who have similar problems may be prompted to use sticky tack or glue to keep it in place. Other than that, and speaking in terms of functionality, I have no problem with it. I'm not a huge fan of the strange maroonish color Hasbro chose for the suspension system. It's distracting against the black tires and the tan body of the VAMP. It seems especially strange for a military vehicle. I'm also not a huge fan of the missile launcher, but that has an easy solution. Other features include 2 gas tanks, just like the original VAMP, a functioning spare tire, kind of a useless feature, but it does serve to add a bit of immersion, and last but not least, we have a removable sledgehammer and spade. Now, the coolest aspect of the POC VAMP has to be the customization options for the weapons. You can mix and match the weapon positions, like swapping out the missile launcher for the Gatling gun, or vice versa. But it doesn't end there. You can even attach weapons from other vehicles, most notably the Pursuit of Cobra HISS-Tank V5. Personally, I like to take the HISS-Tank's Gatling gun and place it on the rear weapon station, a match made in heaven when you realize that the included ammo belt fits perfectly into the HISS-Tank's Gatling gun. That is thinking ahead. In terms of carrying capacity, the VAMP can carry 5 figures on the surface, 4 in the seats and 1 in the rear weapon station. But are those pegs on the side steps? Yes, they are. So in total, 1 VAMP can carry 9 figures. Damn. Speaking of figures, the Pursuit of Cobra VAMP comes with Double Clutch. He's an excellent figure, and it's what we've come to expect from modern Joe lines. Excellent articulation, excellent detailing, and excellent accessories. His helmet is removable, and his M1911 can actually be holstered. He also comes with a bag, because why not? Now, aside from being a cool-looking vehicle to display, it's also a case of being a must-have vehicle just from a practical standpoint. I'm often paranoid about losing the barrage of accessories that modern figures come with, which becomes especially daunting when it comes to army building. However, the VAMP actually takes steps to alleviate that problem. Aside from the provided empty space you can pack accessories into, there are also numerous places to attach accessories with pegs. For example, I often adorn my VAMP with the backpacks of the figures. The result is a beefed up looking vehicle that simultaneously helps you keep track of the accessories. The only problem with this is that it might compromise the ability to place figures on the side steps. In 2011, the same VAMP mold was used again for the VAMP Mark II in the G.I. Joe 30th Anniversary line. The only real differences are the color scheme and the included figure. Instead of double clutch, the VAMP Mark II comes with a Steel Brigade Delta figure. Again, he's a standard Modern Joe figure. He comes with 2 knives, which can both be sheathed, and a G36 assault rifle. His helmet and vest can also be removed. Seeing as how the VAMP Mark II is a simple repaint, there's really no point in going into much detail. However, I will say that I think its color scheme is simply superior. It's actually more on par with the original vintage VAMP color scheme. Because of this, Joe collectors may gravitate more to the 30th Anniversary version. Now, here's something weird I noticed. If you look at the back of the boxes, they appear to show opposite vehicles. They made the same mistake twice, so maybe it was intentional? I don't know. In conclusion, the modern VAMPs are certainly not perfect vehicles. They have their fair share of problems. It could be a little bit thicker on plastic, but at the same time, it's not like it's going to fall apart on you. I think the greatest thing about the Pursuit of Cobra VAMP is just the fact that it's just a good vehicle. There are no flashy lights and sounds, there are no in-your-face gimmicks, it's just a practical vehicle to carry your troops. And the things that could be considered gimmicks, the winch, the suspension system, they serve to complement the type of machine it is. They are things that I would want to see on a rugged, all-terrain vehicle, and if we're completely honest with ourselves, they are things that probably should have been on the original VAMP. These are great vehicles all around, and you simply can't go wrong with them. If you can't find the original Pursuit of Cobra VAMP, do not hesitate to go after the 30th Anniversary version. I give the G.I. Joe Pursuit of Cobra VAMP a huge seal of approval. This is the Human Mechanism. See you all later. Yo Joe.